Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Sky High for Kids checking in on its fourth hospital bedside chat. And today we are going to hear from another fellow native Louisianian, Miss Lauren McKinnon, and who is the founder and CEO of Project Mockingbird, which is our PR company that we started working with about 3 months ago. So stand by. We are getting ready to go live with Lauren in about 5 minutes, and I'm going to get my personal Instagram up and going when we start. So, how is everybody doing today? I am looking forward to hearing from Lauren and really informing everybody about how we're navigating through some of the challenges in relation to marketing, communication, and just how we do what we do at Sky High, which is hosting big fundraising events. COVID-19 has, truly put us in the middle of the perfect storm. Low oil prices because, and why does that matter? Because that is our donor base. We love the oil and gas industry, but we are having a little bit of a hard time right now with low oil prices. And on top of that, we can't gather. We can't gather. And so that's a huge bummer for Sky High. That's how we raise all of our funds to benefit Texas Children's Cancer Center, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, Ronald McDonald House of Memphis, and so many others. And so we are having to really get creative, and I'm excited to roll out a new plan tomorrow to our team. We've been working together, Jesse, Christina, and I, as well as everyone else on our team, including volunteers and board members, on how we can diversify. How can we diversify not only our donor base, but how can we diversify the way that we currently fundraise? If you really break it down, we've got all of our eggs in one basket when it comes to our support, right? Oil and gas industry, that is about 95% of our support. And we host special events, and that's kind of it. And we're really good at it. So that's what we wanted to focus on. And there's nothing wrong with focusing on what you're really good at and actually getting even better at it. But now we are forced to, hey girl.
Hey!
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I was trying to see how I look. Are we already live?
We're already live. I know, girl. Christina was like, here we go. So I'm about to go live here. Yes. Okay, so we're already live. I was telling everybody that we are kind of, we're diversifying our donor base and we're diversifying our ways of fundraising. And so tomorrow we're going to roll that out to the team. And our team is actually challenged to come up with their own ways of fundraising, and we'll dwindle that down to one and put it in the lineup. But that's a whole nother story for maybe another conversation, or we might get into that a little bit today. But how are you?
I am good. I am more interested. I want to hear how married life is quarantined out the gate. Like I need to know, because I need to compare it to my own married life 7 years in. So I need to
oh my gosh, married life immediately out of the gates after being quarantined. Wow. Okay, so I will say this. We planned our wedding over about a 6-month period, and it was so exciting. We were going back to my hometown of Abbeville, Louisiana, about 300 guests coming in from all parts of the country, Catholic wedding and a big party after to celebrate. And I think, when we had to shift, we shifted really quickly. The week of the shutdowns is when the wedding was supposed to be, March 20th. Yeah. And so I think we were in shock, right? But in the business that I'm in, life could be way worse in many ways. And so, put on the big positive face and had a positive attitude and said, okay. Just asked, said, we're going to the courthouse and you're going to get married even though you can't have the wedding you wished for, and we're going to do it. And so we did, and it was phenomenal, and we had a great little small party afterwards. Yeah. But 6 weeks or 7 weeks now being married, it's just hitting me now that I'm really bummed about the way that it all turned out. And, I told Bobby that a couple days ago, and so I'm going through those emotions now, which is
Yeah.
normal. And
Yeah.
it's okay for me to not be so tough all the time and say, yeah, I'm bummed. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have a fun wedding. We didn't have a memorable experience with our family. Um,
Yeah.
Bobby and I have been together for 7 straight weeks or 8 straight weeks now, every
Mhm.
day, every night. And so on Sunday night, I got into mode and said, time to get back to the office because I might need a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So we have really been doing extremely well. I have to be
Good.
honest. Allie's a senior in high school, so she's on her Zoom
Yeah.
call.
Mhm.
I'm on my Zoom calls, and Bobby's on his. The
Mhm.
only problems we had was, I'm really loud all the time. I
Yeah.
talk about, and
Yeah.
so, everybody's like, "Hey, can you, in the house, can you be quiet on those Zoom calls or close the door?" Um, but we
So
did,
I'm the Bobby. I'm the Bobby in my house.
yeah,
And I think that's why you and I initially hit it off. You are like all my best friends, every guy I've ever dated, my husband, so bold and loud and just wonderful. And now hearing him on a Zoom call, I'm like, oh my goodness.
yeah. I
I
was like,
love it.
really? So we did. Okay, we started our first round of arguments about a week ago.
Okay.
They're occurring every day now, and I mean,
Perfect.
it's over where we're going to hang the TV or what wall color we want to paint. I mean, it's minute things, but I think when you're in each other's space so much, and you were in this routine of me. I mean, I was out every day. I was meeting with donors. We were putting on events. I mean, we were busy. Um,
Yeah.
and we'd come home at night together, but now it's just every waking moment. And so, I'm ready. Go back to the office.
Agreed. I can't wait to go back to the office. I cannot wait.
And Lauren, do you have kids?
I have 2 kids, 2
Okay.
little girls. They're 4 and 6.
Oh my gosh, are you doing like kindergarten homework or something?
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. We 3 weeks in, we made a call for the sake of our marriage and called in our nanny to come and live with us to homeschool because I have no business teaching kindergartners. I mean, it's difficult work, and I'm having to reteach myself, and I just couldn't do it with work. I mean, my heart goes out to every parent right now, including, one with a high schooler. I mean, Allie's probably going through a lot of different stages of grief, just as you had. I mean, she's missing her graduation. I mean, that's awful.
I
I
know.
hate it.
We found out yesterday that they're going to push graduation to July, which the principal said it's out of our hands. ISD is not going to make the call. The government will. So we're going ahead with our May 23rd graduation party in the backyard, small group. We are distancing for everybody out there, okay? But we're not going to allow Allie not to celebrate with at least close friends and family. So there's been a lot of emotions, and she's type 1 diabetic. So so Allie can't be exposed to much. She's one of the high risk, humans out there that could be affected by COVID. So she's really going stir crazy. But I love you, and you've done such a good job. And
I hate that.
all right, we could talk for 5 hours on here. Where people are like, "Hello, let's."
They're like, "Okay, thanks."
And Project Mockingbird. So, hey, for everybody that doesn't know, Lauren is a powerful female CEO and founder of Project Mockingbird, which is an amazing public relations company in Dallas, but she's from Louisiana. So, Lauren, tell everybody a little bit how you founded Project Mockingbird, what Project Mockingbird does, and then we'll get into how y'all are helping Sky High.
Okay, yes, I'm from Alexandria, Louisiana. So Brittany and I immediately recognized the accent. Hers is a little bit prettier than mine, though. But Project Mockingbird, so I spent my career working in PR and communications for a lot of nonprofits, some for-profits, but always kind of leaning to that social impact space. And I founded the company 2 years ago because I believe in the power of communications to change our world. I mean, we're all using our different skill sets to further missions that we care about. And, let's see, I was 36 at the time. And I said, well, I've got one skill set and I'm really great with PR. I'm really great with messaging and communications. And I think that, all women and men at a certain point kind of need to lean into their skill set and what they're good at. So the idea behind the Mockingbird is a mockingbird, state bird of Texas, shout out, gets together with other birds and they create change in their environment by getting louder and louder and louder. So that is what we do for the companies that are gracious and willing to let us partner with them, like Sky High. And we only partner with social impact companies that we believe in. And I will say we only partner with those we believe in are going to make global change. That's kind of our, recipe and what we do. And we've been so lucky that so many companies like Sky High, Make-A-Wish, Match Group, who's a for-profit company, and their mission is love and human connection and doing social impact work. We're lucky they put some trust in us. So it's been a great 2 years. It's a crazy ride. I had no idea about anything about business. I've YouTubed everything to learn how to run a P&L, and it's been fantastic.
Isn't that the fun part, though, when you run a business? I mean, it's just like when I founded Sky High. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I was good at a few things, and that was building relationships, gathering people together, having this ability to inspire, and just kind of honing in on God's talents. But I certainly cannot do math, can barely spell, can't put a proposal together, and really didn't understand how to do any of the legal work. And so that moment was when I went to Crystal Mahfouz and all of my friends at Edie's and said, hey, y'all are all graduated from college. You have more experience than I do. Help me. And that's when we started our amazing group called Sky High for Kids. And so it's really neat to see how you built Project Mockingbird. How many are on staff now at Project Mockingbird?
We have 6 on staff, and then we have a network of about 20, 25 Mockingbirds, as we call them, around the country. And that's kind of how we plan to scale, since, you can only scale so fast in a traditional way. And so the more people we bring in that have different skill sets that we may not have, that's how we're hopefully going to scale to turn into a global agency. And yeah, we're just on our way.
Fantastic. And y'all have shown some grit and some gumption when it comes to helping us maneuver through this crisis. And so I wanted to talk about that. Y'all are used to being in the office like we are. We call ourselves chickens. So we have so much in common, Lauren. Okay.
So much. Just ridiculous.
Birds, chickens. I mean, hey. And so our little hen house, we're so lonesome for each other. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How have y'all adapted to that, and how's everybody working from home, and what's that like?
So I again, it's a lot of similarities with your team. I think day one, I've never seen us have more hustle in us. Day one of the lockdown, and we went straight into, okay, how do we help our clients, who we consider our friends and partners, maneuver their businesses? And as a ripple effect, that helped our business, by putting others first, kind of how you do, Brittany, by putting kids first. It really kind of laser focuses in your own business model and how you're going to recover. So that's what we did. We just went into action. I miss them terribly. We all miss each other. We try to do Zoom calls. We try to do the happy hours. We do daily calls every day and just kind of run through what we're working on. And it's hard because we are used to being that cohesive team. But we're making it work. We're luckier than most. We've been able to retain our staff, and I'm just so proud of that. And everybody's really pulling their weight when it comes to getting through this crisis together. And I think we all realize how lucky we are. No one is sick, and that's the most we can hope for right now.
Right. So I'm going to copy that. We've been able to retain all 9 of our staff members. We have seen some serious resilience by the team. Day one, we hit the ground running, and Matt Abrams, who is our EOS coach, really said, hey, we got to start by creating a short-term plan. We're going to look long-term, but you don't make those decisions right now because there's so many unknowns, right? So we made that short-term plan in a very, short amount of time. Like, short, okay?
Yeah. And I feel like you had a plan 2 hours later. Like, I feel like there's the Brittany plan coming through the email. Here it is.
We got it, baby. We got it. And so the team stepped up, and for anybody that tuned into our virtual gala last week, in comparison to what we've been seeing out there, we're super proud of ourselves. And, we raised $100,000 in basically, call it 60 to 70 minutes because of the amazing support by our community. But this is what I was telling Christina a minute ago. We had 350 viewers. Over 1,000 people ended up tuning in at some point. We raised $100,000 that way. I mean, we're watching people do virtual events, and they've got 100,000 viewers, and they're raising like $9,000. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, we did it. And I'm so proud of our team. And it just shows, how supportive our Sky High community is and how much everybody believes in our mission to save these kids.
No, that's right. And I'm sure that we've talked to Christina, Casey has, about a case study here, because we watch this very closely in the nonprofit world, obviously. And we have never seen someone raise $100,000 in an hour virtually. And so you can't, you're really smart in how you guys run your business and your organization. Your metrics aren't 10,000 views of nobody who's going to care and support kids with cancer. You honed in on exactly the audience. And Brittany, you carried that entire show. I mean, we were watching in the car. I had my kids watching. I'm going to text you a picture of my dog watching when you had the dog up to adopt. Morrison was like glued to the TV. And it was just like more money, because you just inspired with you guys messaging, and you just carried that so well. And we haven't seen anybody do that since or before.
Thank you. I was hard on myself. I thought I looked crazy on there, but I was sweating bullets, changing this. We wanted to keep it entertaining, right? And we wanted to
you couldn't tell,
but push the mission. I mean, the whole thing is, we've just nailed it. Christina nailed it. Our mission is not canceled. Cancer is not canceled. How are we going to adapt to the COVID-19 environment? We're going to do it. And we did that in 4 weeks. I'm so proud of the team. Tomorrow we roll out our new extended short-term plan. We look long-term into the fall and how we're going to maneuver. And I'm just so proud of what we're going to roll out. It's really neat. But tell everybody how your style of communication has changed a little bit when it comes to media in terms of COVID-19.
So what we're telling people right now is a little bit of what we believed before, but now it's going to resonate a little bit more, is if you have an organization or it's just you and you're trying to pitch a media idea, I'll just kind of use an example. Always lead with how you or your organization are being helpful. If you work with a company right now who, quite frankly, isn't in a position to be helpful, it's okay to be a little quiet. It is okay. What you want to do is remain relevant with your brand during this time, but the positioning is squarely around how can you be helpful, because we have to remember reporters, I call them mockingbirds too. They believe that they got into journalism because they want to tell stories that matter. So we immediately, when we reach out to them, we say, if you tell this story, this is how many lives are going to be impacted. And so that's our mockingbird way anyway. In COVID-19, that is what reporters want to do. You will not find an article out there selling something that we don't need right now. It's how can we be helpful? If you are with a brand or an organization that can be, then you just have to get louder and louder with that. And don't view it as opportunistic, because it's not. If you can be helpful, you should do it. That is absolutely something that's needed. And I think a lot of people are kind of like, should I get out there? Am I going to be perceived as opportunistic? I will tell you right now, you won't. It is absolutely needed.
Or insensitive, right? Like
we
had to really talk as a team and our board and say, is it okay to ask for money right now? Is it okay to ask for things that are needed at the Ronald McDonald House? Is it, and, we were honestly a 50-50 split. And I think a lot of it was, we are heavily involved in oil and gas. The oil and gas industry just completely tanked in a very, very short amount of time. And so we've seen so many amazing friends and family members and coworkers lose their jobs. And so we were having this discussion with ourselves, what is right? And so it came down to our board really honing in on timing.
Yeah.
Timing is everything.
That's
And
it.
so they were fully supportive, and we were right rocking when it came to the virtual gala.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a little bit of time to thank everybody, let everybody get back to work with all of our phases of things opening. And then we're going to launch some small campaigns over the summer, and we'll be ready to rock this fall.
That's right.
And so I love that. If you have an opportunity to help people, why would you not put that out there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me why you think it's so important to spread good news right now. I mean, let's talk about good news.
Well, I think before COVID-19, some people like good news. Some people are like, it's a little cheesy. Some people like to read the drama and the bad news. Local news sometimes can be very centered around, crime and things like that. This is a completely different world. And for the first time, probably in my lifetime, second to 9/11, the entire world is in something together. We're not all experiencing it together. There are job losses. There are, there's crime within homes. There are sick family members. We're definitely not all having the same experience, but we are experiencing a collective sorrow, and what that feels like is anxiety. It feels like a little bit of depression in some cases. And for some people, they're just looking for something positive to focus on. So the more good news we can share, that does so much good, medically speaking, for people with anxiety, depression. I know a lot about that. It does good for people who are actually suffering physically, who are sick. It does good for families and couples. My husband and I were fighting over dishes this morning. That's good for us to take a minute and read some good news. That is inspiring. And, humans are meant to be together and inspire and feed off each other. So sharing good news, we're all going to feel that together. That is how we're designed. And so it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love that. Share the good news. It's so important. Like you said, we can just drown in sorrow and look at things so negatively, but what we have really put forward, like what we've done and what we focus on, is what are the opportunities that are going to come out of this pandemic? What are the opportunities that we are going to create? We are going to create. It's our attitude. It's the way we think. It's the way we process. And it's the way that we move forward. Opportunity. And that's what everybody at Sky High has really done well. I'm so proud of them. So on that note, some of the ways that people can support their community. Why is that so important right now? And just kind of sharing what that looks like why it's so important. And it doesn't have to necessarily focus on the crisis at hand. It can be a slew of different opportunities in the community, right?
That's right. What I would say is, it's not even just limited to charitable giving, right? Or volunteerism. Every day in our house, since my daughters were born, we have a gratitude hour. And we don't spend a full hour, but we call it that because it's a good name. It's really about 10 minutes. And, I hate to be strict about it, but one thing we are strict about is we will express gratitude every day. And even doing small acts like that with your children, letting them write a letter to their grandmother who they can't see, sending a letter to their school friend they miss, Allie sending texts to her friends and checking in on them. That, in addition to charitable giving, even if you aren't, you don't have the funds right now, or a way to go and volunteer, which usually fills our cup up, those little acts of gratitude and kindness, I think that's one of the great things that's going to come out of this. Is I think we're going to be a much more thoughtful, gracious society. And really think more about, I think Brittany, growing up Southern, we always knew to send the thank you notes, right? But I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I just went through the motions and sitting there and really, really sending that person love, dropping things off to our elderly neighbors, checking in on friends, sharing funny memes on Instagram. I think all of those things matter right now to support our community. Even if you can't, North Texas Giving Day here in Dallas, and then Giving Tuesday was yesterday. There's a lot of people who couldn't give, but they would share on Instagram an organization that they wanted to give to. And that maybe got someone else to give. And so just being really gracious and generous with the kindness and positivity we're putting out there is more important than I've ever seen in my lifetime right now.
Amazing. And so, what Craig was saying this morning, one of the podcasts I listened to, which I'll post later, but
which podcast, Craig? Who?
How do you say his last name? Groeschel?
I think I know him. Yes.
Groeschel, right? Yes. He's amazing. He's a pastor at a church. And so he just said, again, looking at everything positively, being extremely vulnerable and letting your team know exactly how you feel right now, even though it might be scary, right? Or negative, like being real about the way you communicate. And I've always had that style.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows me, I'm really direct and really tell people exactly what I'm thinking. Working on maybe having a little bit more of a filter sometimes, but the team's always said, we never ever wonder what you're thinking, Britt. And it's a great way to really maneuver through a crisis right now. And he said, this is not the first and this is not the last crisis. In fact, you're kind of set as a leader to probably go through one every decade. So Lauren, we got a ways to go, girl.
Yep.
We're super young.
So young.
But I'm really excited and proud to see how everybody's been working. And so what questions do you have for me? We love Project Mockingbird. They are amazing.
Okay, so I want to know, Brittany, what you love about this time and what you do not love. Like, what are you looking forward to not ever dealing with again?
Oh, that's a good question. What am I looking forward to not ever dealing with again is just the thought and the fact that regardless of my personal commitment to my team, meaning I have made a commitment personally to try everything possible not to lay anybody off, not to furlough. And so I am looking forward to never having that thought cross my mind again. Like, it was about, I think it was about 3 weeks into COVID-19 where, we started to see that this is going to be serious, meaning we lost the Crestwood event, we lost the Buckeye event, and then we lost the YP clay shoot event. And we were kind of like, oh my gosh, like they're not being postponed, they're canceled.
Yeah.
So we watched, almost $3 million completely go down the drain in terms of our revenue plan this year. And so when you start looking at that and really start processing that, and then you look and you think, well, I've got 9 people on this team and 9 people were here to support $7 million in revenue. What are we gonna have to do?
Right.
So I was like, hold on. I had a moment. I was on the phone with one of our board members, Jason Heck, and he coached me through it, but I started crying. I was like, emotionally, like my heart broke, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I would ever do that. Like, how would I ever lay someone off? I love my girls so much, right? It's a personal thing, but you got to come back and think it's business too. And so that's the number one thing. I just cannot wait to just, I don't think about it, right? Because we put this A team together, Lauren, and we don't want this A team going anywhere. And that's what the board is committed as well. So the board backed me and said, time out, apply for your PPP loan, which we got it. We got the PPP loan. Yes, gives us 2 months. We're so excited.
That's amazing.
Amazing. And because we were cash flow positive at Sky High, which means that we were smart as a nonprofit and as a company, we saved $1 million over a 3-4 year period to put into that account to float our organization for a rainy day. Well, here's the rainy day, right?
That's incredible.
We did.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
And we still have not dug into that savings account, not one single cent. And we don't think we will have to this year, because what we've done is, okay, how to take that thought out of my brain. We put the girls to work. We give them the opportunity to be creative, innovative, and say, this is how we're going to fundraise now. We're going to do it this way. We're going to do it that way. It might not be millions and millions of dollars this year. Like I told the girls, we went up this little peak of this mountain last year. And we decided to all take our hiking boots off and slide down. we're putting them back on, tying our boots up tight, grabbing our sticks, and we got to climb. And it's going to be a tough climb. It's going to be a hard climb to get back up that mountain. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's a long answer to your question, but
that's a good one. I have an add-on before you tell me what has been your favorite part of this time. But you have been so intentional with who you hire and culture and fit and all of those things. You seem to immediately grasp that when you founded this organization. What's the one quality that all 9 of you share in common?
Passion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's our passion. I mean, to be honest, when I think back from day one in 07, or even before that, when I was in high school, it was just this crazy passion that overcame me. And then, I spread that passion from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's just everybody that has come in and interviewed, and the way we do our interview process is pretty creative. And, to come in and see them, okay, third interview, they come and present their own fundraiser as if they are presenting Sky High for Kids company. And so you can see that in that third interview, you can see the passion come out. And once I see it and my gut feels it, they're on the team, and then from there, it's coaching and really getting involved. But I think that's what we all have. We all have this enormous amount of passion inside to never give up and to do what it takes morally and ethically to see the mission through, right?
Yeah.
So
what's the one thing that's been nice about this time?
So one thing that's been nice, I'm going to give kind of two scenarios here. So one is that I have seen myself as the leader absolutely trust every single person on my team, like through and through. I remember like day 2, I was like, ooh, working from home. Is everybody going to be like, you're going to work 4 hours? You're going to work 8 hours? Like, what's everybody going to do? And I mean, it was literally like 2 days of thinking of that. And we talked about this last year, assuming positive intent.
Yes.
I'm wondering what everybody's really doing, because you have to assume positive intent. You have to always know and trust that your team is going to be doing what they need to do for the mission. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, I trust my team more than ever before after this. And so that has been a favorite part for me as a leader.
Yeah.
And then in addition, I really love the fact that our team, as young as they are, I mean, these girls are all under the age of 30, and I've given them an opportunity to be creative and to really show their talents, like exude that, right? I've watched Christina just totally blossom from a marketing communication standpoint, okay? And show like some unbelievable work ethic. I mean, everybody had it before, but now it's like, like Saturdays, Sundays, 9 p.m. at night, whatever it is. Yeah. And so, Jessie, Leanne, Grace, Jamie, Sarah, Kip, everybody. And that creativity and that use of their talents, when you're blowing and going, sometimes you don't give people the opportunity to really showcase what they're extremely good at. This is allowing them the time to say, I'm going to really show what I'm good at. And I'm going to also take a leap of faith and try something. I think girls are trying new things and getting out of their comfort zone. And that's been one of my favorites as an organization. You know what I mean?
I love that. Okay, so I've heard your story, but I like hearing it as often as possible. Can you tell me and any viewers why Sky High, why this mission? We know you started it years ago, beauty queen, clay shoot. Tell us a little bit about the journey. But I just love hearing this story, because I think a lot of people, when they hear it, they always knew how serious pediatric cancer is and how it's such a miss that we can't cure it yet, and how close we actually are.
Right.
And I think a lot of people resonate with that because it's such a difficult topic to think about and let your mind go there. And then when you do, you realize, Oh my gosh, we're really close. We're really close to curing this. And you're working with the physicians who are really close and the researchers. Can you tell us a couple minutes on why this mission?
Okay, I'm gonna try to do this in 2 minutes. Yeah, right. Okay, so here's the first thing that comes back. I think about the way I grew up. I grew up, now understanding super poor on a small farm, South Abbeville, Louisiana. I mean, my dad lost his career. My parents didn't go to college. Education wasn't the forefront of the family. And that only taught me like work ethic, right? And responsibility and doing for others and giving. That's what we learned growing up. And so I think about that. I think about being totally and unbelievably fortunate. Although we grew up poor, like we were so fortunate. We showed sheep in 4-H. We played basketball. I was a pageant queen. Hey, let me just make that clear. We didn't have $10,000 to be in a pageant like it is today. If you compete in Miss Texas or something, I mean, this was like a $200 pageant with the dress and the heels and everything, right? And so I think about all those little moments. But one thing is that I did not go through anything relatable as disease, no matter what adversities I had to overcome growing up, which were quite a few. Nothing was in any comparison to cancer, much less a friend or a child or a sibling having that. So when I was in high school and visited St. Jude and walked in the Ronald McDonald House, I was literally like immediately stunned because I was around 50 children that were very sick, were in wheelchairs, on sticks, had tubes in their nose. I mean, weren't eating. And so I was just like, what is going on? Hold on, time out. What is this? And that moment, I said, this is not fair. It is not fair for these children to be sick. They should be doing what I'm doing out in the country, duck hunting and four-wheeler riding and shooting plays and being in a pageant, whatever. I didn't understand that. And so, that night we cooked a gumbo for all the families, sat down with a little boy named Dalton, who unfortunately did not beat cancer. But that evening, he ate a bowl of gumbo with me for the first time. I think he hadn't eaten in like 3 weeks, and his parents were just elated. I mean, I watched his parents cry, and I was in high school. So it was just like a weird moment for me. It was overwhelming, but like I kept just going through the motions, and it's like as if God was just saying, this is it. I'm planting your seed. This is your purpose. And then fast forward to college, literally the same group that I volunteered with, Beanies for St. Jude, which just celebrated their 20th year, I think, anniversary. Amazing group, small group out of Louisiana, Kaplan. She said, hey, Britt, we want to raise $10,000 this year for St. Jude. And, we need your help. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. But I'm graduating from college this year, studying for the LSAT. Remember, I was not real good academically. I mean, I was like, there's no way I'll pass the LSAT, but I was going to try. Long story short, had the idea for the clay shoot. I was shooting sporting clays on Fridays with a group of guys in the oil and gas industry. They all came to the restaurant, Edie's. We served biscuits there. And so I said, hey, hold on, time out. 4 people on a team, $500 a team, this many teams, boom, there's $10,000. We can do this. And then it was like one thing after another, right? Like, oh, we'll have cookers and we'll have a raffle and we'll have a live auction. And before I know it, Crystal Mafus is taking a photo of me, and we've got a billboard on Highway 90 in Lafayette, saying register now. The Sky High for Kids was actually Sky High for St. Jude at the time, sporting clay tournament, August, whatever, 2007. I think it was August 18th. And I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Yeah. Well, overnight, we had 300 participants, and we raised $70,000. Okay, 50,000 net profit, and it was like, this is it. This is what we're to do. And we went to St. Jude, donated the proceeds, met Bryce Norwood. Okay, and Bryce was that's what solidified what I was put on earth to do right there. Bryce was 5. He had a very short amount of time left on earth. His dad communicated that to us. Unfortunately, Wilms tumor was a really hard disease to beat then, still is now, but the survival rate is much better because of the amazing work of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And so we were able to fulfill Bryce and his family's final wish, weekend, whatever you want to call it. And his dad had just told us he wanted to whitetail deer hunt before his son passed away. He wanted to share that moment with his child because that was a very big passion of his and the kids. And so we made that happen in Uvalde, Texas at 4M Ranch. And I spent a 4-day period with a 5-year-old child that I barely knew, but like it was an instant bond. In fact, we slept on a couch just like this every night. And his mom told me on Sunday that Bryce hadn't asked for his morphine all weekend, like all weekend long. But as soon as he got home on Monday, he was like back in severe pain. And that was it. I mean, that was it. I was like, no more of this. These kids cannot keep suffering. We have to do something to push the survival rate needle forward. And we've got to do something to provide comfort and care during treatment, right? And so that was really it. I had already moved to Houston and taken a job in oil and gas, deferred law school. And that's when Crystal said, here we go. We're going to open this official 501c3. We're going to do it right. Yep. She called the lawyer, articles of incorporation, filed the federal 501c3 paperwork. And 13 years later, here we are. And we're making moves. We're watching the survival rate needle go up. Yeah. And like you said, we're close. I mean, we're 80% survival rate in the United States. But look at what we're doing in Africa now. Yeah. Where the survival rate is only 10%. Y'all, put that in your brain. Let's go take what we know here and go share that. And help these kids. It doesn't matter where a kid is diagnosed in the world. It is a child going through an ugly, nasty disease. So there it is. I mean, it's
when I read about y'all's work there, it spoke to me just as a mother. When I became a mother, it's the first time I realized every child is your child, you know, and there is no child on this planet that I don't consider myself responsible for, you know, and that's not just unique to mothers, but it was probably a realization for me. And this pandemic too, probably is a wake-up call for a lot of people who maybe didn't realize why it's important to donate to kids who will never meet, because we're all connected. You know, this pandemic started somewhere we'll maybe never go to, but yet it's affecting us. And we can learn things from these kids that we're treating, and they can teach us things here, our doctors here, that will apply to our own children. And we are all connected.
Yeah, and it's our children. It is our future. Okay, so you think about kids that, you know, unfortunately do not beat this thing. Okay. All right. So a lot of people will ask me, where does that put your faith? You know, faith is in our core values at Sky High. It only makes it stronger for me personally. God gives me another reason to keep moving forward, and an understanding that sometimes things don't work out the way that we plan. Okay. But we've got to keep moving forward. You know, there's hope out there. There's ways for us to do more. And so that's what we do at Sky High. We have our faith that, you know, there is a reason, you know, and we just keep pushing forward. And so, you know, and you know what's interesting when you say that? I don't have kids biologically. I have my amazing Allie cat that I adopted 4 years ago. But before I adopted Allie, I remember thinking to myself, why me? And why am I so darn passionate about childhood cancer? It makes no sense if you break it down. I wasn't exposed to it as a child. I didn't know anybody as a child. I mean, why? And all I can say is, this is what God had planned for me, and this is what I was supposed to do on this earth. Rally people behind the number one cause of death by disease for our children. Keep in mind, no matter where we are with this survival rate, 80%, it's phenomenal. Thank goodness for Texas Children's and St. Jude and CHOP and so many others for pushing this forward. Ain't good enough. 20% of children are still dying. Okay?
You know, you have such a strong conviction, and, you know, were, as you said, chosen by God for this mission. How would you advise, because you probably get asked this a lot, I get asked a lot by young women coming out or out of college, men too. How do you find your purpose? What are the things you would say to do?
That's an excellent question. I just really feel that you have to listen to the signs. You
Mm-hmm.
have to keep your ears and your mind open. They are not always going to be the signs that we want to hear. Okay.
Yep.
We want something. I wanted law school. I wanted to prove that I could be educated. I wanted to prove I could be the only college graduate in my family. And I wanted to go to New York and kick butt in a courtroom. Okay. I wanted that more than anything. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, right? I mean, that's what I wanted. But I listened to signs that God showed me. Instead of turning away from them, I moved forward. And so I think you really look at the experiences, all right, as you go through each experience in your life, stop, reflect, think about it, and really hone in on what that could mean.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't know.
That's great advice.
Nonprofit. I didn't think I'd start one. I didn't think I'd run one. I mean, no way. What? I didn't even know what a nonprofit was in college. Okay, didn't know. And now look where I am. But it's because I stopped and I listened. I listened when Bryce Norwood passed away. That was it for me, right? So I don't know how to really explain that, Lauren. You might have a better marketing communications answer for that.
We'll work on that, but I love the way you explain it.
Experience. They're always going to come. Every day you're going to experience something new. So stop and reflect and just.
Well, and you could have said no to the hunting trip. You could have stayed home and studied for the LSATs. You could have said, no, I'm on this path, and you were open to that experience.
Keeping your mind open, ears open. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the last question I have for you is, I did see on your Instagram, you're staying healthy because you want to be a good leader. I'm trying to do the same. So I was excited to see that and trying to see what you're reading. But as a leader right now, we have to act like that more than ever. And it's needed, and that doesn't mean an authoritarian sort of thing and bossing people around all the thing, but it's leading through example right now. What's the number one thing that you weren't doing as a leader and now you're going to after this crisis is over?
Oh, that's a great question. So some of the things that I'm doing now that I think will continue is, number one, I had to get back to my routine. So there were probably the first 4 weeks where I got up every day and I stayed in my pajamas. You can ask my team what I looked like on our Zoom calls. It was basically a train wreck.
Yep.
I wasn't working out. I wasn't like doing my daily prayer, like reading my prayer cards in the morning. Like I just got off track. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was working harder, like, and creating all these plans. But personally, I felt sloppy. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt sloppy. And then it hit me. I listened to a podcast and it was just like, hey, time out.
Yeah. You're
the leader. You're going to lead through this crisis or you're not. You have to lead by example. Routine, keep it, right? Even everybody that's parenting their kids, schoolwork at home.
Yeah.
You can't let your kids sleep till 10 and start homework at noon. Allie has to get up. She's at the table at 8:30 a.m., just like she'd be at school till 2:30. I don't care if she's done with her homework. You're going to get on YouTube and study some more math. I don't care. So I realized how important my routine was. Okay. So I'm getting up on time, going for a walk in the morning, saying my prayer card, getting dressed, put on some makeup, did my hair, and I'm out the door and I'm back at the office. Or you can do it at home. It doesn't matter, whatever your circumstances are. Second thing was, I looked at my priorities. What were 3 priorities each day? Okay. We have something called Rocks at Sky High. It's our goals that we have for the quarter. And so I look at those and start my day that way. But I had to put 3 priorities down. Today was finish the Swoon magazine shoot. Have an amazing bedside chat. Get there early. Practice with Christina. And then, so prioritizing your day with 3 things, even if it's personal things, is super important. And I think lastly is just, again, educating myself at this time. And my coach said, hey, you got to start reading more. I'm not a big reader. And so I'm reading 15 minutes a day. And that is something I will continue to do because I'm learning. I'm educating myself. No matter what I'm reading, I mean, you're learning, and it's so important. So routine is so important. Educating myself through reading and just really just trying to write those 3 priorities down and get those done every day.
I love that. That's smart advice for anybody.
I hope so. And I get it from all these podcasts, so I got to give credit to everybody else.
I get everything from the podcast. Everything. I mean,
one day I'll have my own
podcast. I have no formal business training.
Yeah, me either. But it's fun to learn from everybody else. And thank you everybody that shares, all the great leaders out there. But Lauren, leave us with some lasting words on why you think it's so important that organizations or any company, for-profit, nonprofit, should trust and invest in a public relations company like a Project Mockingbird.
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you for the plug. Yeah. Well, I think, we do consider ourselves really a channel to marketing. Everybody needs marketing business, right? Right now, though, in particular this year, we are going to see completely different consumer trends. We're going to see people not shopping as much. We're going to see them spending money differently, saving for a rainy day. And one thing you can do very cost efficiently by investing a little in your PR and public image is tell your story. Tell how you can be helpful. Tell how your mission is going to impact lives. Tell how people can get involved and tell it in an authentic way. And that's ultimately what PR is. It's not publicity. It's not celebrity things. Definitely a fun part of it. But right now, everyone cares about how they can make an impact on their friends, their neighbors, kids with cancer. So I would say investing in PR is always a good investment. And I think it's Bill Gates who said, if you have $1 left, spend it on PR. And we really believe that. But we don't believe it because it's our company. We believe that the power of communication can absolutely change the world.
That is amazing, everybody. And so now you know why Christina and our team hired Project Mockingbird. I mean, wow. And I've learned so much through this very short amount of time that we've worked together. I thought it was, hire a PR company, going to be on Good Morning America tomorrow. You got to get the celebrities involved. You got to do all this. Here's my expectations, rah, rah, rah. Let me tell you what Project Mockingbird has taught me as an individual and a leader. It's that right there. It's telling your story with conviction. It is sharing your burning passion across any channel that you possibly can. And it doesn't matter if you have 1 million viewers or 5 viewers. Tell your story. Get the brand out there. Communicate as much as you possibly can. It's not always about all the, sparkly stuff out there. No, it's simple. It's you have a story to tell. You have good to do in the world. You are rallying people around you for a cause and a mission. And people like Lauren and her company, Project Mockingbird, can just help you push that forward and help you really tweak the way that you are communicating that message across the board. And especially during this crisis, y'all have been rock stars. You have been a huge support base for Christina as a young person, really leading these efforts for a decent sized nonprofit like Sky High. And so we are thankful. We love you. We love you. And
we love all of you.
Casey, because Casey's been busting her butt. Thank y'all so much. And thank you for doing this bedside chat, 4th bedside chat today.
Woo, this was so fun.
Yeah, we look forward to doing more stuff together. And we love you, Lauren.
And well, Good Morning America isn't too far off, Brittany. Don't even play.
Not playing, ready to get on there. We got to share the world. We got to tell the world what we're doing at Texas Children in St. Jude. We have to tell them.
That's right. We'll even send them this video shout out.
Come on, GMA. Let's go, Michael.
We're coming for you, Michael.
Woo! Okay, love you. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you for everyone who joined today. Brady Birch, I love you. Bye, guys.